when duty calls, duty calls.
Sophisticated humor.
Sophisticated fart jokes.
Now, farts and comedy may have evolved through the years.
No, they haven't.
No.
So funny.
And the art of telling a joke has always stayed the same. It's always set up and punch, no matter what. So for these guys, for the comedians today, I was just talking like this with Goonan a little bit about Fred Allens of the world and all these comics from back in the day, Lenny Bruce and Long Islander was Lenny. But a lot of people forget about the guys who paved the way, the Mort Sauls, the Lenny Bruces, even before those guys. How important is it, would you guys say, for comedians today to know the past and know where about the comedians that were before them?
I think it's a very important thing. I've read several books on the subject to know all the the people that influence stuff. I think nowadays a lot of people don't know who did it. I mean, if you're a jazz musician, you know who the jazz greats were, or if you're a good rock musician, who the rock greats were, and knowing the history of it and respecting the history of it, to me, is very, very important. So it is very important to know the roots of comedy, because you were from vaudeville going into the 50s, going into the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. There's always been the pioneers that paved that were game changers. And it's good to know those guys and get influenced by them.
Yeah, I think they should, because there's a lot of things that when they see that, they'll realize, oh, that bit I just thought of, they were talking about that same stuff in the 30s, the 40s. I mean, look at Buster Keaton. Some of the stuff he did back then is still kind of relevant and funny today, and that was silent movies. So who were some of the comedians that you kind of paved your
Oh,
self
absolutely.
after?
It was George Carlin.
Oh, yeah.
Cheech and Chong, actually. Kinnison.
Yeah.
Dice. Those guys are like the guys that I looked at and said, man, I wish I could, be that good.
So you came up like in the late 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was right when the height of the Dice Man and Kinnison.
And basically when I was a kid, I just loved George Carlin, loved everything about him. Cheech and Chong were my heroes too. So just from that aspect, those are the guys that made me want to do comedy. And still to this day, Carlin is, I try to write clever material. I fail horribly, but I try to write based on the way Carlin would write.
And I tell you what, man, George Carlin is my number one favorite comedian of all time. I don't think anyone comes close to him. Not even the great and powerful Richard Pryor, who I love. I love Richard Pryor. I love what he did for comedy. I love how many comics he kind of created, who emulated him, right? But I feel like he gets all the glory, and everyone seems to forget Carlin. Where's the Carlin specials? Like there was just a special last week about Richard Pryor and his life. Where's the George Carlin specials and homages to George Carlin, who was probably one of the greatest joke writers and ever, if you think about it.
Just the way he, and you talk about Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce, Carlin was inspired by Lenny Bruce, so much so that Carlin would go down to Cafe Wa and watch Lenny perform. There was one night that Lenny got arrested, and Carlin got arrested in solidarity. They're riding in the paddy wagon, and Carlin, because he's a big fan of Lenny Bruce, goes, I just want to let you know I want to ride with you because I feel what you believe, and they're turning. And then Lenny Bruce looked at him and go, you're a moron. What'd you do that for?
I love that. Yeah, that's so great, Lenny Bruce. Yeah, and Goonan, you love the old school guard. What era do you connect with the most? Because I know you love Fred Allen. That's got to be like the 40s. Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit about your heroes.
Mostly me. I like me. I was pretty much born great, and then everybody else is trying to be me, really.
Really?
When they're good, they're trying to be me. When they're bad, they're trying to be everybody else. That's pretty much how it is. To answer honest, I'm trying to be honest.
Well, we appreciate
humble's a stumbling block.
I want to be humble today. Because Martin Luther King Day come, I'm humble.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah.
But
mostly me.
So who have you influenced? Who are some of your?
Pretty much everybody, really. Pretty much everybody around. That's pretty much it. There's me. There was Chaplin was okay. He didn't say much, but and then there was me, and then everybody else pretty much. It owes me money.
I've learned a lot in the past 20 minutes. Yeah,
that's right.
Do you see your influence in our contestants today?
Well, I have a shirt like that. Yeah, I have a shirt just like that.
Very
and I have a
nice.
dress just like that. And I shave my legs.